Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video of the Azimuth. Today we're going to be talking about the problems in Naval 1945. Now, I uploaded a video on the 3rd of August, and I talked about how underpowered carriers were. It was either the 3rd or the 2nd. And I talked about how, underpowered carriers are and all that. And I said, carriers, need a buff because the planes can't do anything. They physically can't do anything. Anyway, on the 4th, an update came out. And, I was genuinely excited about this update because, some people were saying, oh, planes will be buffed. And I was like, oh, okay, planes will be buffed. Maybe they can do something. Only to find out that anti-air doesn't even work anymore. Planes can nearly one-hit South Dakotas with the rockets, which are meant to be high explosive rockets, but somehow they can pen 152 millimeters of deck armor, which is unbelievable. And the torpedoes can do ridiculous amounts of damage, even though you've got one of the best torpedo protections in the game. Which made me think, hang on a second. Now, I decided to try aircraft. And I was not losing a single aircraft. Going in to South Dakota's, AA range, he didn't shoot down a single one. Or, they didn't shoot down a single one of my aircraft. But yet I was able to do citadel damage to them with rockets. On American rockets, high explosive, are meant to do splash damage, not citadel damage. This is kind of unbelievable, and I can't understand it. I really can't understand it. So anyway, I honestly think the video that I did, it was either he was already planning to do this buff to aircraft, or he took my video into consideration and buffed aircraft, or completely butchered AA. Anyway, I think he took it a bit too far, because now anti-air does nothing to planes. It doesn't matter if you've got 3 South Dakotas next to each other that is spewing AA out, they're going to do nothing to planes. For example, I was playing this a few hours earlier, and a Mogami got one hit by torpedoes. And then another Mogami got one hit by rockets. This is unfair. This is completely unfair. It's unbalanced. I cannot believe they would overbuff carriers. I mean, just put them to splash damage. Just make them do, each rocket do, I don't know, 1,000 damage every rocket. So you have what? I think it's like 5 or 6 rockets. That's 6,000 damage. That's a reasonable amount of damage. I mean, seriously, come on. I mean, really, is it a script error? Probably it is. It's probably a scripting error. And, my video probably didn't help. Am I complaining too much? Probably I am. But I speak for the people. I know that sounds a bit, crap and all, but I speak for the people. And I really want this game to do well. 297 hours until new challenges. Okay. Don't know what that means, but okay. What is that? Until the new update? I'm not too sure. Anyway, I just really want. I mean, for like the Lexington, it was I think it was either a Lexington or a what's it called? A Kaji. I'm pretty sure it was a Lexington. Now, US and Japanese, they have high explosive rockets, not armor piercing. The Germans have armor piercing rockets. And yet, people in Lexington's and Akagi's are able to citadel South Dakota's with rockets. I found this completely unfair. The AA does nothing to planes anymore. I just feel like everybody that does the destroyers, cruisers, and battleships, I just feel like they've been cheated out. It's either that or it's a scripting error, and I hope to God it's a scripting error. Because if it's not a scripting error, oh my God, the amount of complaints that are going to flood in is going to break Roblox. It will break Roblox because I know they're focusing on Neo Warfare. I know it is the highest grossing game for them. I know that most players play Neo Warfare. That doesn't mean that you completely abandon Naval 1980 to 1945. Doesn't mean that because neglecting the players that play those games because they like those games. And yet, I mean, for example, I talked to Omni, who was yesterday or the day before, and he said that they don't focus on naval anymore, and that shocked me. That honestly shocked me. I mean, you've got all these players playing naval 1918. They're playing a dying game. I mean, they could really make this game big if they put the effort into it. And right now, the only thing that they're putting effort into is Neo Warfare. And that's not right. I mean, they've got all these wonderful games, and yet they're only focusing on one. That's not right. It really isn't right. It's oh my God, all these players. I mean, I don't like playing Neo Warfare. I don't like playing it. It's just not my type of game. I like playing Naval 1918 and 1945. And now that they come out and say, "Oh, we're not focused on naval anymore," that shocks me. That honestly shocks me. So Naval 1918 is basically a dead game. Naval 1945, I don't know. All they said is, they're not focused on Naval 1918 anymore, which is sad because the game has come so far. A lot of people have put so much money into it. So much into that game. And they say that people should at least get compensation for that. Why do you have to give up on a game where you've gotten so much from it? You showed so much love and support for the community that played Naval, and you go and abandon it. That's what I've been told. That's what I've been told. Is that they've completely abandoned Naval 1918. I'm not sure about Naval 1945. And they're focused on Neo Warfare. I don't agree with that. Have they got too many games? Probably, yeah. Um, Naval 1945, was it really needed? Probably not really, because the updates are coming out very sparse updates. Um, for example, when they removed the Germans from the game, uh, I don't know why they did that. Why didn't they leave the Germans in the game? Like seriously, I don't understand that. If they're going for ships that were actually built, this is going to be a very sparse game. This is going to be mostly the United States Navy and the Japanese Navy, and that's it. If they're going for paper ships as well and blueprint ships, you're going to have the the Russians, the Chinese, the Hungarians, the Spanish, the French. You're gonna have the Koreans, the Australians, the Canadians, the Brazilians, the British. Um, you could have all sorts, and I honestly do hope that they don't just stick to, ships that were built. Or otherwise, this is going to be a very, very sparse game. Now, if they are going for blueprint ships as well, that means that we're most likely going to see the A150 or the Yoshima that has 510mm guns, the Montana, USS Montana, the um, uh, HMS Lion and HMS Conqueror. Will most likely see the H class, H45 and H52, I think. If you don't know what they are Frederick de Grobe and Grosse Kurfürst. And they are big ships. They are huge ships. They are massive. They've got over a kilometer turn circle, 1,033 meters to be exact. And then you see ships like, for example, would you see the Tillman ships in 1945? I don't think that you will, because they were World War One ships that were drafted up, but never made. Are you going to see a lot more carriers? Are you going to see, for example, the Graf Zeppelin? I honestly think you will, because the German, the German aircraft carriers, they have secondary guns that are terrifying. The reason why they're terrifying is because the fire rate and the amount of secondary guns they have. It is terrifying of the amount of secondary guns they have. They have the Graf Zeppelin, if I'm correct, has 3 times the amount of secondary guns as the USS Lexington that we're looking at right now, which is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. It will rip a destroyer to pieces. It will absolutely tear a destroyer to pieces. Are we going to see the Bismarck? Are we going to see Grosse Kurfürst and Frederick de Grobe and Gneisenau and Strongholds? I think we will. But it's just going to take time. If they don't add them in, that's going to be really sad. But if they do, that'll be awesome. But right now, I think that carriers need to be fixed. Because when you have multiple South Dakotas within AA range of each other, and they are trying so hard to shoot down aircraft, and they can't even shoot down one aircraft, there's something wrong there. There is something wrong there. Have they done it for a meme? I don't know. But, if they have, then, okay. Are they going to fix it? I don't know. Have they given up on the game? I don't think they've given up on Naval 1945. Have they given up on Naval 1918? Well, what I've been told, yes, they have. But, will they come back to Naval 1918? Probably. I mean, are they going to be releasing just premium ships now instead of putting in Tech 2 ships? I don't know. I mean, I honestly think one of the reasons why they have kind of given up on Naval 1918 is because they've added all the ships in. Which is a bit concerning, because why can't you just make a ship up? Or are you going to make a separate game for that? Like, called fictional naval, like naval fiction. That would be pretty cool. Or will you take fan made ships? That would be pretty cool. If you start taking fan made ships, I think that would be a really good idea. If you reach out to your fans and you say, oh hey, do you know that we're taking ideas from fans about ships? Please send us your drawings or your ideas or whatever, and we'll see if we can model it. That will be a good idea. That will be a really good idea because then that will get fans interested. But if you're just going to abandon your games, I'm not. I can't. I don't have a say in anything. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just an average guy, average YouTuber that just does review videos on your games. That I don't mind really. But yeah, so yeah, that's everything that has been going on. Overpowered carriers, the abandonment of all the so-called abandonment of 1918, and some other things. So, hey. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy this video, give it a thumbs down. Put in the comment section what you think about the idea of having fan-made ships in Naval 1918 and 1945, and also how do you feel about the fact that you can't really shoot down aircraft in Naval 1945 anymore? I honestly feel kind of cheated and kind of disgusted. This update has kind of screwed this game, because you can't really do anything. I mean, if there's an enemy aircraft carrier on the enemy team, you can't do anything against those aircraft anymore. I mean, the amount of flak that the South Dakota pumps out is unbelievable. It is an unbelievable amount of flak, and yet it doesn't shoot down one aircraft. They don't. The person, playing the carrier, doesn't lose a single aircraft. So, yeah. And another thing I don't like is when you take damage from an aircraft carrier, and then you go shoot at them with a battleship, and just before your shell reaches them, they scuttle, and that's unbelievable. That is unsportsmanship, and they should be punished for that. They should be punished for that because it's basically they are what's it called? It's they are they're giving their team points, and yet they refuse to give the enemy team points. And I can't remember the name of the it's basically a cheat. But I hate it when carrier players do that. I absolutely hate it because it means that they can punish you and yet you can't punish them. So I want that changed as well. I think everybody wants that changed as well. Punish carrier players. I mean, I play carriers, but I only play carriers for the secondaries because I find it so funny when a carrier with secondaries is able to go toe to toe with a battleship. Of course, the battleship's going to go through the carrier's armor because it's basically just made of paper. But carriers are fun for their secondaries. They are not fun for their aircraft. I will not use aircraft in my carriers anymore. I find it unfair. I honestly find it unfair. I will only use my carriers for my secondaries. I will only use my carriers for my secondaries. And will this spark, a thing where everybody stops using their carriers for their aircraft and only use them for the secondaries? If it does, then that's going to be funny, because then you're going to have carriers YOLOing. But, hey, I'm just a normal guy. Anyway, I'm going to see you guys later. Peace.